All right, lads and lasses, and g'day, mates. Welcome to another episode of the Toon podcast. We are putting the pod in Antipodean. That's right. I'm sticking with it until it actually sticks. That sounds absolutely class, man. It sounds absolutely class. I'm going to keep on doing it. We are the Southern Hemisphere's #1 podcast for all things Champions League bound Newcastle United. I haven't got tired of saying that yet. And today we're going to be having a little bit of fun. We're going to be doing part 2 of our season awards. Part 1 was done just the other day by Jack and Mark. They did best goal, best game, biggest disappointment, bit of a strange award, and most improved player. So if you'd like to go and watch that one, you're more than welcome to do so. In this one, we're going to be doing player of the season, moment of the season, surprise of the season, and signing of the season. Just before we go any further, I want to give a quick mention to our old mate, Tiote, Jack Tiote, who died on this day. When did he die, Craigie?
6
years ago to the day, 2017.
6 years ago at the unfathomable age of 30-year-old. Absolutely no age to go out. But, he left us with some tremendous memories, and they'll live long in our own hearts and minds as we go forward in our own lives. So all the best to Jack Tiote's family and everyone, all of his friends, and so on and so forth. Before we get stuck into these awards, let's have a quick hello from the lads who are going to join me for this one. We have got Dimi in freezing cold Ballarat. How are you going, mate?
No, you're not in Ballarat.
Melbourne, mate.
I'm in Melbourne, mate. I'm in Melbourne. I'm not. Not in Ballarat. But no, it hasn't been that cold today. It's been actually a quite balmy 19 degrees. So for Melbourne standards in winter, it's quite warm. But no, I'm good. I'm actually a bit disappointed. There's no actual football to look forward to nowadays, and there's a couple of weekends off, which is a bit annoying. But sooner or later there'll be some news, and we can start cracking on to the new season.
I'm sure, as everyone who watches these podcasts knows, you will have about 6,000 other sports that you're keeping across. By the way, just to mention, in case anyone hasn't noticed, on our YouTube homepage, there is a new video of Dimi representing the podcast on the Premier League's Fan Zone TV show. Dimi, you're coming a bit of a regular on that one. How did it go?
It was quite good. It was late at night our time, so it was about 1:45 Friday night, Saturday morning. So my eyes were a little puffy and a bit under the weather. But no, it was good. It was good to talk again with those guys and talk about what a great season we've had, and just always great talking about Newcastle, and to show that Isaac goal again as well. That was sensational to relive.
Yeah. God almighty, that goal was ridiculous. And to think the presenter actually said to you, pick your best goal. It's not like there's 20 to pick from this season. I was like, mate, that could be Miggy just in the first half. He was absolutely
exactly. Have you not been watching us? Yeah. Have you not been watching us all season?
Easy pick out 20. Moving on, Craig, you are joining us from, I don't know, beyond the grave by the looks of it, mate. You got plenty of pasty white going on. How are you going, mate?
I'm all right, apart from having a few lighting issues, so it does look like I'm trying to cut an early promo with The Undertaker as I'm Paul Bearer. So, apart from that, I'm all right. I'm just waiting for the donk to go, the lights to fade out, and then Vince McMahon charging behind me. But I'm looking a bit pale. I've had a few lighting issues, so you can see all the shadows on my face. It's not just bags under my eyes. I've had a few technical issues, but I should ponder on.
All right, stay away from the light, mate. If you've learned anything out of Poltergeist, it's stay away from the light. Stay away from the light, my child. Whoever that woman says, with the massive legs. Before we go any further, if you do like what you watch or hear, God knows why, please give us a like or subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section if you want to chip in and tell us what your favorites are of the various categories that we're going to go through today. So we're going to be talking about player of the season to start with, and as you can see on the screen there, it is the terrific Toon podcast Golden Koala award that all the players and all the players and the staff are so desperate to get on their mantelpiece. Look at that thing; it's kind of a bit melted by lots of things, but it looks absolutely smashing, doesn't it? Normally we have the players and the staff on the show every single season. Anyone can check this; it's definitely a fact. But this time around, they've all been busy doing other things like going to the shops and looking at the carpet and other things that they've been doing, making cups of tea. So they're not able to join us this time around. So we've actually employed the services of the Toon podcast SoopaComputah. He's called Keith Keith the supercomputer, and we've asked him to use his imagination to generate some images of players accepting their Golden Koala award. We'll get to those in a minute. They've turned out interestingly, let's say. But first of all, let's kick off with the Player of the Season award. I'll start with you, Dimi, mate. Now, we can pick 1, 2, or 3 people. It's up to you how you want to go about doing this. Off you go, mate. Give us an idea of who you've got in mind for this one.
So I think there's probably 3 that it'll come down to. I've got one in mind who I think will win it or has one in my mind. But I think Trippier, Joe Linton, and Bruno for me have been the 3 most consistent and standout performers of our season. I think that Joe Linton again has continued off his sensational second half of the season. He's just gone another level in my eyes this season. He's added some goals to his game. He's just been dominating in the middle of the park, and even left wing he's been playing. He's been doing well as well. So Joe Linton for me was definitely right up there. Bruno is Bruno. I still don't think we've won a game without him. So his importance to this team is undeniable. So Bruno is our metronome, our superstar, our probably most creative player in the middle of the park. So he's obviously right up there for this award. But for me, Kieran Trippier has been our player of the season. It's amazing to think that he's played all 38 games this season for us in the Premier League. It's last year, people do forget he did start the first couple of games after his signing, but he did get injured for a long time. And I think he missed maybe 2 months of football last season. So we didn't really get to see the best of trips at the end of last season. And people do forget that. So he's had an uninterrupted season, basically played every single minute of every single match. And I mean, his quality from right back, I don't think I've ever seen a player control a game from right back. And he's probably one of the few players that I've seen, not only at Newcastle, but in European or world football, to control the game from right back, which is very difficult to do because sometimes you're stuck out there on the right-hand side, sort of don't leave your own half. But he obviously takes our set pieces, takes our corners, provides assists. Defensively, he's more or less pretty solid. He's had a couple of moments this season, but more or less solid. And I think his voice and his leadership has been second to none. And for me, well and truly deserved the player of the season.
He has been absolutely terrific, hasn't he? He is the consummate, experienced professional of the team. He's the captain in all but name, really, isn't he? Well, your mate Lascelles, let's be honest, your mate Lascelles, I think still retains the band.
The official,
yeah. Who knows how long that'll last? It's the summer now, isn't it? So come this forthcoming window. Yeah, I did actually have Joe, as I mentioned, Big Joe. He got 8 goals this season, you know. That's not bad, you know. 8 goals.
No.
2 of them albeit in the League Cup, I think it was. Two in the League Cup, but 8 goals in total, 6 in the league. Absolutely terrific from him. Craig, are you going to suggest another name in the mix here? What's your 3-2-1 if you want to go that route?
Well, 3-2-1. So starting at 3rd place, I'm going to go Nick Pope. Purely the fact that he's made some saves which have kept us in games and won us games this season. The only reason he's not particularly higher up is because of he's had a few brain fart moments where he doesn't know how to use his feet, but he clearly knows how to use his hands outside of the box, as we found out against Liverpool. So that's the reason he's not higher up. Otherwise, I think he would be 1st or 2nd. He's been a fantastic sign for us when I think he's only 10 million quid, an absolute bargain. Number 2. There's going to be a joint 2 here, and it's between Big Joe and Trips, just to echo what Dimi said before. They've both been absolutely phenomenal all season. Trips has been a leader from day one of coming in, and Big Joe's been playing like a man on fire since day one of this season as well. But number 1, and this might be a bit of a shock to someone, but Sven Botman. 23 years old, debut season, man mountain, man wall, whatever you want to call him. He's been an absolute phenomenon. He is probably already our best ever defender in the Premier League era. He's better than Woodgate. He's better than Colaccini ever was. And again, it's his debut season. He hasn't put a foot wrong, apart from that time when he barged that Brentford player over when he gave away the penalty. But yeah, apart from that, can't fault the man. He's an absolute beast and can't wait to see more of him.
Oh, Dimi is fuming. Dimi, what you got to say about that, man?
There's not much to argue. I mean, there's been probably 5 or 6 players who've been sensational. I'd find it hard to believe that anyone's been better than Trips, to be fair, but Botman has been sensational. And the fact that the bloke's only 22 or 23 years old, he's built like an absolute brick house. And
but best ever defender, mate. I'm sure you can think
Well-
of at least one other defender that you got in mind.
well,
From a certain country that you're not too far away from.
yeah, well, I mean, taking all bias aside, I think Nikos is not the best defender we've ever had. Let's be fair.
No, he's not.
He's the best Greek ever to
Oh.
score against the Macans.
Yeah, cold hero, and he actually had a very good career outside of Newcastle. So I'm not gonna slag Nikos Dabizas off, but no, look, Botman has that ability to be not only the best player, the best defender that we've had, but one of the top defenders in Europe. He's on that trajectory, in my opinion. And I think if he gets another quality young centre back, perhaps the pair next to him. Not that Cher's been poor, but another young up and coming centre back next to him, there could be an unbelievable partnership for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, he has absolutely. He's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't he? It's amazing. I think this is his first season, and he's fitting like an absolute glove into this league, into this table. I will say he has been caught out of position a few times. He doesn't appear to be the fastest. I hope we can work on his pace a little bit when he finds himself a little bit too far up, and the ball goes behind him. But I mean, Christ, nitpicking. Yeah, there you go. Nitpicking. Yeah. All right. Well, that's your two. So, Dimi, you went for Trips. Craig, you went for Bots. I am going to actually go for. What the hell is that? I've gone for a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, I've gone for Callum.
That's scary.
Hold on. We'll get to that. We'll get that. I've gone for Callum Wilson, and as I said earlier, here he is, pictured by Keith, our supercomputer, holding his Golden Koala, I assume, the trophy there, looking very, very happy. You have to say, he's thrilled with this when you look at him. Just coming back to Callum Wilson for a minute. He's scored 18 goals this season.
Yeah.
He's really kept his team in it at times with some sublime goals and some easy tap-ins, but his positioning's been there. He's very much been a bit of a Shearer kind of season for him, apart from, maybe he doesn't set up all that many, but some of his finishing has been absolutely top draw, outside the box, inside the box. That outside flick from his right foot when he was under pressure, moving away from the far corner. I still haven't figured out how the hell he managed that. I mean, that was just ridiculous, and it's kind of often overlooked. But really, if not for anything else, I think he deserves player of the season for the 18 goals that he scored. He had an injury as well that he had to come back from, and he's had all that challenge from Isaac as well, and that's probably helped him in many ways as well. So I'm going to give it to player of the season. I'm going to give it to Callum Wilson for propelling us up the table. And that trophy looks a bit. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. If that's supposed to be a koala, I don't know where the hell its left eye went or its right eye. And,
Jesus Christ!
And it doesn't appear to have a nose either. So
it's got two noses. There's two noses there, I think.
Oh, I know that.
Is it?
I don't know. Who knows? Anyway.
But
hopefully Keith will get a bit better.
Quick one on Callum Wilson. As you both know, I've backed Callum Wilson since day one, all day this season. I've been right behind him, even when he went through the bad spell. He's been one of my top players. Callum Wilson, never once doubted him. Never said we should sell him or anything, I guess. I've been his biggest backer all season. You two would agree on that, wouldn't you?
Moving on. but you can't deny, though, he's been absolutely sensational this season.
From April onwards, I think he's got more goals in the Premier League than most players in Europe than anybody else. I think that's an absolute phenomenal statistic. To come back from where he was to bang those goals in, which effectively, not single-handedly got with Champions League, but he had a massive say in it.
Best season of his life, he said in his own words. It's his best season he's ever had, and he actually says that because of the injuries that he's had in his career, that it actually keeps him. It's probably made him a bit fresher now that he's around about 30-year-old, wherever it might be, because he hasn't played all those extra games, being injured and everything. His body hasn't went through the rigor like all the other players have, and he feels like he's still got a ton to give. And that's a pretty scary thought for the rest of the league, but brilliant for us. Let's have a look at the next category here. It is moment of the season. Craig, I'll let you go first on this one, mate.
So again, I'm going to go top three. Third one is probably Dan Burn getting his goal at the Gallagher end against Leicester. So He's the Geordie and all of us wants to do that. Lifelong dream for every single one of us on the pod and every other fan out there. He's lived that dream now.
I still can't believe he hasn't done his Shearer. What the hell was he?
Nah.
That was the time to do it. That was right there. Do it. And he didn't do it. Anyway.
Got to get end and everything as well. Perfect timing for it. But obviously caught in the moment. But yeah, that's number 3. Number 2 is probably got to be Murphy's reaction to his goal against Spurs, his second goal. That jaw dropping. I mean, the goal itself was impressive enough, but his reaction was even better. I thought absolutely superb. But overall moment of the season, this is a kind of tricky one. This one, to be honest, doesn't know anything about it. I mean, there's been so many moments, but I think the moment where everything just clicked and we knew we were onto something special was probably after the Carabao Cup final. The disappointment of that when we beat Man United at home. I think that just told the rest of the league, we're not going to back down. We're not going to falter. We're not just going to lie down and get our bellies tickled or anything like that. We're here to fight. And that just proved to everybody. And that, for me, is my moment of the season.
Fair enough. If I was on the other pod with Jack and Mark, I probably would have said that final was the biggest disappointment. Not the result, because, you know, it's a game of footy, it's a cup final, and any kind of result can happen. But just the timing of it, when we were on our decline and Man United suddenly found, you know, the secret formula on how to play footy, and it just coincided at exactly the wrong time to have the first final in a billion years. And I don't really feel like we turned up all that well in that game. And yeah, but anyways, that's what I would have said for the biggest disappointment in the last one. Dimi, moment of the season, mate.
Yeah, like Craig said, there's been so many unbelievable moments. I mean, we've barely lost a game this season. We've finished in the Champions League. We've made a cup final. There's countless moments that have been special. The 3 that I'm going to go for, one is very selfish. Obviously, the first game of the season, you both know that I was there, and the moment, not even the goals that we scored that day, that moment where we walked out and the flags were up, the banners were up, and it just hit me, the noise and the feeling. I haven't had that feeling ever at a sporting event. I was virtually in tears. It was unbelievable, and it really hit home that I was at St James's Park after all the years of watching on TV and feeling close to the team, but obviously never being right up close, and to see the boys walk out and hear that song and hear everything. It was just, that was special for me on a personal level. But from a team perspective, I think there's 2 individual moments that I'll probably cherish for this season. One's going to be a bit left field. I think the Isak goal against Nottingham Forest, the penalty, I think that game for me was, obviously it was a big game. It was a Friday night in England. Forest, we had not a bit of bad luck. We had a lot of bad luck the last time we went down there, when that stupid referee gave us 2 red cards and there was a couple of penalties in the first half, and we lost, I think, 2-1 on the day to Forest. So Forest had some bad memories for us, and we felt hard done by again. Anderson's goal was disallowed, and it was looking like it was going to cost us a crucial 3 points. And then to get a last minute or virtually last minute penalty, and for Isak to score in front of the fans, that was an epic moment. And I mean, it was only a Nottingham Forest 2-1 win, but it felt like a lot more that build up. It was just the injustice we felt all game, and to score that goal, I think that was a massive moment in the season for us. And the other moment I think that we have to look back on and just admire and not laugh, but to be 5-0 up after 22 minutes or 23 minutes in a Premier League game, not only in a Premier League game, but against a team who at the time were 5th, despite the fact that everyone was telling us Spurs were rubbish, which they probably are, but they were still 5th on the Premier League table. And to be 5-0 up in 22, 23 minutes is astonishing. I don't think it's going to happen ever again, where Team 4 or Team 3 beats Team 5 or leads Team 5 5-0 after 20 minutes. There might be a game where Man City or whoever's top on the table are beating a relegation-threatened Luton Town or Leeds United or whoever it is, 5-6-0 after 20 minutes, but not a top 6 or supposed top 6 team. I think that was a moment I think we'll never see again.
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. That was actually one of the things that I mentioned on my list here. I've got the 5-0 in 21 minutes. Just absolutely ridiculous. I do also want to give a shout out. This is moment of the season to Craigie here for turning himself into Slim Craigie. It got a mention in the last podcast, the first part of this awards season here with Jack and Mark. I can't even remember how that got into the conversation, but it's one of those things that we just don't want to not talk about whenever we get the chance.
Yes, we do.
To see Craig dressed up like a character out of Little Britain with his peach blonde hair and I'm above it, or was it more like Only Gay in the Village? I forget which one you looked like the most, but you look like one of them. Vicky Pollard,
Daffyd.
maybe. Daffyd,
Aye.
yeah. I mean, props to you for going through, but that was hilarious seeing you do that. Absolutely hilarious. And you kept it around for a few weeks afterwards, which was just brilliant.
It'll not happen again, that's for sure.
No, next time you're going to be shaving it off. Oh, I haven't said that. You practically
even
vowed
worse.
anyway.
I've got a bald head that looks like a half-eaten peanut M&M. There's no way that's happening.
It looked like what was it? A half-chewed peanut rolled around on a barbershop floor or something. What was that one?
Bald egg that's rolled on a barbershop floor.
Bald egg. You came up with some belters this season, so there was a few moments there involving you there, mate. The other ones I came up with, I think I got a slide for that. Let's have a look. Yeah, I've got two. I've got the meme machine. That is Jacob Murphy, living everyone's dream, every Newcastle fan's dream, but not pretending that he's not doing anything other than living his best life every single time something great happens. With his little Nancy wave that he gave that time in the cup.
Yeah,
that was lush.
To the time he has this big smile, and every time you see him, he's got this just ginormous big smile. And let's not forget, mind you, when he did that big smile, it was a hell of a shot as well.
yeah.
Louise from outside the area. All right, they should have closed him down, but that's their problem, not ours. He absolutely belted it in. Yeah, and the other thing is, Isaac, that moment when he made Flappy Hansky Flappy dink, essentially, and took a little dink right over the top of any Russian defenders, and he managed to put the ball in from about 30 yards out, didn't he? And as he was doing it, he's just standing there with his hands on his hips. Flappy Hansky's got his hands on his hips. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Premier League game before. The detail that I think gets overlooked the most, but that I love the most, is that when the ball went in, he's actually aware that that Flappy Hansky's right next to him, and he looks across to him, and I think he's honestly thinking, that was kind of funny, that wasn't it? And I think he was expecting Flappy Hansky to sort of like thumbs him or handshake or like a smile or something, but Flappy Hansky just like turns away in absolute despair, like he's just watched his dog die or something. I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. So my award for this one is that's right. It's went to Alexander Isak. Keith, the supercomputer, came up with this picture here.
He's a jacked Alexander Isak. All right.
He is, but it kind of looks a bit right, doesn't it? It's sort of not that far off.
Looks more like Emmanuel Adebayo.
I want to draw your attention to this. Once again, Keith has failed us with his rendering of the Golden Koala trophy. This one, I don't know, looks like a bear that got trapped in a furnace and melted halfway through or something. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But anyway, Isak is my choice for that one. All right, moving on. Next one, surprise of the season. I might as well go first on this one since you two boys have went first already. Aside from being in the top four for the majority of the season, which is incredible, really. I mean, I know we had a good end to the last season, and I think we were top four performance-wise from last January or something like that. I think the table was, and I know that's how that ended up. But that was about survival, and you can understand that the players are motivated to give everything they can under a new management and new owners, and the driving to keep themselves in the big league, and it's backs against the wall. And I think it's probably quite easy in some ways to motivate players like that. Obviously, it's harder in other ways, but just to take that forward into this season and to be in the top four for fast swathes of it. I think it was something like from week 12 we got into the top four. And I think on 2 occasions we dropped out of top four, but for the rest of the time we were literally top 4 team the whole season. I mean, a large part of that we were probably top 3 as well, which is a little slightly disappointing that we ended up in 4th in many ways, which is ridiculous when you think about it. And hopefully we can turn some of those draws into wins. But that was one of the surprises for me this season. But the other one, I think, and the one I'm going to go with, I might as well do it now because I've got the slide ready, is... That's right. Miggy / Ayoze Perez Almiron here. He was very happy he was ready to receive his award. Let's have a close look at that award. I think
the Golden Shrek.
I think this thing's trying to join you from the other side of reality here, Craigie. I think he's trying to join you on the...
He's trying to get you, Craig. Yeah, careful.
On the coastal plain.
Also,
it's like bloody slime out of Ghostbusters or something.
What's that sticking at the side of him? Has he got a rock on or something?
Yeah, didn't ask Keith. Ask the supercomputer what's going on. I've got no idea what that's about. But anyway, I'm going to go with Miggy because I think the start that he made really got the whole team going. The first few weeks of the Premier League up till the World Cup, really, and then it kind of faded a bit. But the way he just attacked every ball and scored goals that I don't think any of us have ever seen him score before. Yes, he did all right in pre-season, but how many times have you seen a team or an individual do well in pre-season, only for it to come to the real, business end of things, and then it just goes completely the other direction? And this is Miggy, and he was getting mocked by Grealish, and he had the whole world, but against him in many ways, I think. Not the fans, but the rest of the footballing world, perhaps. And he just absolutely smashed it. Some of the goals he scored in that first half, man, like that fella that you were talking to on the fan zone, Dimi, you could have literally just talked about every game that Miggy scored in. And each one of those was almost each one of those was a contender for goal of the season. There was some sublime goals, from side foots over the keeper to the far corner, to blammers from outside the area, to little dinks. He was just absolutely sensational. I did not see that coming at all. And so Miggy / Ayoze Perez, Almiron here with the melted weird ghost trophy. He's going to be my surprise of the season nomination. Who wants to go next? Dimi, what you got, mate?
I was actually going to say Miggy as well. I think his transformation this season into a goal. Yeah, there he is. Thanks, Miggy. His transformation into a goal scoring threat, and not only you got to take that down. That's really distracting, but
going to haunt me dreams.
A goal scoring threat, but not only a goal scoring threat, like you said, Lee. Every one of his goals was a banger. They're all absolute worldies. The Fulham goal was Aston Villa goal cutting in was out of this world. Even the Leicester one where he just glided through the defense and score, that was also out of control. So Miggy for me was still the biggest surprise of the season. But in terms of other surprises, I think for me, the fact that we've had the best defense in the league for the entire season, I think is an absolute shock, because we've never, I'm not sure in your lifetime, Lee or Craig, but in my lifetime, we've never had a good defense. We've shipped 2 or 3 goals weekly. So the fact that we've had the clean sheet record that we had at the start of the season, even in the end of the season, we're conceding more goals, but it was only 1 or 2 at maximum at the most time. So that, for me, the transformation to have the best defense in the league to where we were last season and in previous seasons, and the fact that Eddie Howe was said to not know how to coach defense and said to be this swashbuckling attacking manager, that obviously was all rubbish. So the best defense in the league was also an unbelievable surprise for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Although again, you could say that was kind of signposted from the previous season, because we had a cracking defense for the second half of the season beforehand as well. So it's kind of one of those. It's another one of those things that's continued, onto the season afterwards, in a quite surprising fashion. Craigie, what, you got any surprises for us, mate? What's your surprise of the season?
Well, the defense was going to be one of my top 3, but we'll put that at 3rd right now. Just the way we've played football, there's been moments in games where we've put together a passage of 10, 15, 20 passes where the opposition has gotten absolutely nowhere near, and we've been the bee's dick width away from going in the back of the net and being goal of the season. I remember the one against there was Villa, there was Southampton, there's the one at West Ham where Jacob Murphy just decided to pass it to Flappy-Hansky. That was all tiki-taka one-touch football. That's something we're just not used to with Newcastle. So the style that we've played, When we're on free flowing, there's been just a joy to watch. That has been a surprise because, again, just not used to it. But number one, it has to go the hat trick to Miggy Amaron, doesn't it? It just
Let's get him up. There he is.
Hey, Miggy. Just you can get him off now. That picture's
No.
disturbing. Jesus Christ, man. God. Oh, well. But it's been a phenomenal season for him. Will he continue it into next season? I highly doubt it. I don't think he'll play as many games next season. He'll be part of the rotation squad, but this will go down in memory as when Miggy Almiron had his own goal of the season competition. And I don't think, I mean, if we were to pick a favourite goal of Miggy's now, what would it be? Mine would probably be the one against Fulham.
God, I don't know. I'd have to watch that reel that Newcastle put together and released on Twitter, where they just go through every single goal and it goes on for like 6 hours because we've scored that many this season. I do really like the one where he scored against Lloris, where he went to the outside of his man. He kind of, I think he
long
did
way.
He run onto it, or did he play through from the halfway? I forget how he got to that point, but I like the way he kind of ran onto his man, showed him inside, he went outside, and then slotted it past and low. I mean, it's probably not one of the most impressive looking ones on the screen, but I just loved his technique and his drive in that one. But my memory's so bad I couldn't even tell you what the other ones were. There were that many; it was mental. You got a favorite, Dimi?
For me, it's the Aston Villa goal. To be honest, I think we scored 3 goals in 5 minutes, and that one was the culmination. I was just running around the house thinking, "What the fuck is going on here?" Almiron is just scoring a worldie, literally every 4 days, and he's just put that top corner. He cut in from the right hand side from memory, and I think it put us 4-0 up after 50 odd minutes, and it was an absolutely stunning goal.
Wait a minute. Is that the one where you sent that picture through on the chat where you were literally without a shirt?
No.
Looking like an absolute lunatic.
That was the 3-0 after 8 minutes against Spurs, and
Spurs.
Right. I did get a stern word from the missus after that one and said, "Pull your head in, put your shirt back on. It's only football." But I said, look, Katie, we're 3-0 up after 8 minutes. I said, "Do you see the score?" I said, "Yeah, do you see the score? I mean, what do you want how do you want me to react?" "Oh yeah, good goal, Murphy. Yeah, nice goal, yeah."
I will say though that we don't need to see your tits in it ever again. Thank you for that, Dimi. But no thanks.
Noted.
So look at that bloody trophy. What was Keith thinking with that trophy? What's he putting to the side for? Where's he going? Where's he come from? Where's he going? I don't understand it. All right, let's thank God we've only got one of these get through, and we can let Keith melt down into a pile of melted computer chips or something. It's signing of the season now. This is quite an interesting one. I want to hear what you guys are saying about this, because I think it's easy to forget that some of these guys that we've just been talking about only joined in the summer. Like we've had that kind of season with that kind of team unity. That even I was looking at these summer signings and I was like, nah, he's been here longer than that. It's weird. It feels like this has been going on a lot longer. So I'm interested to see what you guys are going to come up with. And I'm going to start with you, Dimi. Who is your signing or signings of the season? Let's try and pick one, because there was a bunch of them and they're all brilliant.
Yeah, I think we've been lucky. Probably every signing we've made has been a hit, and everyone's contributed in some sort of way. Even good old Chris Wood, he contributed when he was here. So for me, I think the signing of the season, I think for the player that he is and is going to become, I think Alexander Isak for me is the signing of the season, because he drove us to a level, I think, that I'm not sure Wilson could have taken us to on his own. And the fact that Isak came and then Wilson had to really raise his game, which he ended up doing in the last 2-3 months. Yeah. I think that proved what a player that Isak is. And when you have great players around you, you do raise your game. And I mean, Isak's quality was clear for all to see. Even from his debut against Liverpool, he scored that wonderful goal and scored 2 goals and got
debut.
Huh? Get out of here, mate. It's called a debut here in Australia. He scored 2 at Anfield. 1 was disallowed, but we'll say he scored 2 at Anfield, and he showed us straight away what he was made of. But for me, he's not only world class. He's at that upper echelon of top I don't know, however you want to say, up and coming young players in the world. He's got the world at his feet, in my opinion, and I think we're very lucky to have a player like him.
You forgot to mention £63 million, Isaac, by the way. I just want to point out that you forgot to mention his price, which everyone has to do every single time they mention him in a game. It's £63 million, Isaac, to you and me. Craig, Isaac's been brilliant, hasn't he? Who are you going to pick?
Well, I did pick Botman for player of the season, so I'm not going to pick him for signing of the season, although he could very well be up there. I'm going to give this as a joint one, and this is probably going to be one player is Isak, but there has to be a big mention. I know he's not an actual playing staff, but Dan Ashworth. What an acquisition he's been for the club. Absolutely phenomenal. Isak is a player, Ashworth off the pitch. Absolutely phenomenal talent that we brought into the squad in terms of what he's going to achieve and what he's going to bring to this club in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, isn't it, when you think about the backroom stuff and the structure that they're putting in place. And I think I don't know if we have the numbers anywhere, but it feels like the skeleton stuff that Ashley left us with is kind of multiplied by an order of magnitude. Then, and they're still talking about needing, like, I think what's the guy who does the commercial stuff now?
Silverstone.
Yeah. He was doing the live chat with True Faith, I think it was. I'm not sure it was the Irish Centre or somewhere else, but he made a comment that the commercial side of things, it's still basically a threadbare staff there trying to get in all this extra money for the team, you know. So there's still obviously a lot of bums on seats that the club needs, and it's wonderful to see that they actually have top flight guys in these top flight positions actually doing a cracking job with a history behind them in their respective areas, and not just baldy bloody Penfold, who not only is he, you know, doing the hoover in the corridors and bloody cutting the grass and making a tea for everybody, he's also trying to run the finances and everything else at the same time, you know. So yeah, I can understand why that was your choice there, Craigie. But who did you pick from the player side? Are you sticking with Botman?
Now I'm going to go with Isak. And also one little thing on there you mentioned there about cleaning the carpets. 14 years ago, we had Dennis Wise doing Ashworth's job. Remember that? That's a dark page in the history of the club, isn't it? Dennis Wise. Long may he just rot in a hole somewhere.
Poison Dwarf. The whole bloody setup was just toxic at that sort of time, you know. Well, for me, signing of the season, I had down Botman, I had down Isak. I've also got down for the future Anthony Gordon. I do think he's going to be absolutely sensational for us. He's very young. But he's got Premier League experience. He appears to have the attitude that you want for the club, the no dickhead policy that we've talked about a few times, which is a surprise, because when you think about him at Everton, you think he's got a face of a dickhead. But when you, well, he has anyhow. But when you see him talk and you see him, I'm not so keen on players who've just joined sort of kissing or patting the badge or anything. But I think he is at least trying to show his passion for to the fans, that he does want to be here. He's got his goal. He's been pretty close on some other occasions, I think I'm right in saying. And I just think for the future he'll be one to watch. I'm hoping he has a good preseason, and he might be our Miggy next season. You know, he might sort of launch his Newcastle career. But I'm going to give it to
Fabian Scher, or is that Nick Pope?
It's meant to be Nick Pope. Nick Pope. Wait a minute, where's that soundbite?
Nick Pope.
There you go. There's Japanese wee lass. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Nick Pope, because it would be remiss of me to not remind everybody how much Dubravka used to do my absolute tits in whenever a ball came towards him and he went, "Here you go, an attacking player, have it back." And then they were just slotted into the back of the net. The amount of times he did that, I mean, it probably in reality wasn't that many times, but he used to give me the arse every time I saw him play. And then he kind of stabbed us in the back, the absolute bastard. I'm not going to let him off with that one. And you think, and it's just coming back to what I was saying before there, Nick Pope feels like he's been there for ages. He feels like he's been our keeper for a long, long time. And I had to double check that he just signed in the summer. I'm still not convinced that he did that. I feel like I might have got this wrong somehow. But I mean, he doesn't look anything like that picture, Keith, the SoopaComputah. What were you thinking there, mate?
It's Fabian Scher.
It looks like David Tennant. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's got artists in the background somewhere. But But I think he's been tremendous at the back. He's given the defense a lot of confidence to push forward and play the system that Eddie Howe wants to. You can only do that when you've got a good keeper at the back. Yes, he's had his brain fart moments. Every player does. I mean, that handball outside the area was like, it was incredible. I don't know what the hell happened there. I think his brain fell out of his ears, and then he grabbed it and got rightly sent off. And the annoying thing about that is he got sent off right before the cup final. So that was like his best opportunity to go and play in the bloody cup final. And for himself, he went and balls it up. Never mind, for the team in general. But yeah, I think he's been absolutely terrific. He's made some good saves. He's made one or two things that could perhaps be worked upon, and that's fine. 10 million quid. I mean, that was all right, wasn't it? 10 million quid.
Bargain. Absolute bargain.
I mean, even in games where he's done nothing, like the game towards the end of the season there, where he still had to make that essential save at the end to ensure that we got a point. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that was
worth 10 million alone.
That was an incredible save. Absolutely incredible save. And he basically had nothing to do that whole game because the city of Leicester was parked past the halfway line, And anyway, just to touch on the trophy there, I think Keith just shut the bed at this point. Keith is SoopaComputah. I don't know what the hell happened.
That's a trophy.
It's just a toy. That's just a toy.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It just morphed into a bloody cuddly toy with a weird eye thing going on.
It's missing an eye.
Yeah. I don't know.
Take some of the Raggy Dolls were rejected. For those who remember Raggy Dolls.
I'm going to have to unplug Keith and kick him in the ocean. Absolutely terrible from him. But just to recap, here are our end of season awards. Part 2, player of the season. I've given it to Callum Wilson. I had to do these slides, so it's basically the choices I made. Dimi, you said Trippier, and Craig, you said Botman. Moment of the season, Alexander Isak for his hands-on hips thing. Craig, you gave it to beating Man United. Dimi, by this point, I forgot to write them down. I can't even remember what you said for moment of the season. And it continues like that. Surprise of the season, we all actually went with Miggy Almiron, Perez over there. Sign of the season, Botman / Dan Ashworth / Nick Pope / what do you say, Dimi? Isak. Yeah. So, congratulations to all of the players, the agents who are probably watching right now. If you want to get in touch with us, we will send you a digital copy of those pictures to your clients. I'm sure they want to get it printed up and put on.
And then NTC, we'll back them into NTCs too, yeah?
NTFs, NFTs.
Oh, NTFs, NTC, NFTs, whatever the stupid things are called.
Yeah. I'm waiting more for an injunction to come around to tell us to stop putting those images up on the computer.
Oh man, it's only a bit of fun.
It is.
And and hopefully the players will send us pictures of them on the walls, in the bedrooms, on the ceiling, so they can look at it every single time they're getting busy. You know what I mean? All right, lads, I think that will do it for us. What a bloody season that's been. It tells you a lot about the season when we struggled to pick just one person for each of these categories, and it says a lot more when you just sort of don't just stare at the screen and kind of cry a little because you can't think of anybody to say for best player or best moment. Like, in seasons past, best moment would have been when the season ended. And it wasn't relegation. Like that's literally where we came from to where we are now, and now we've got Champions League to come from. So. To come next, sorry. So, next time we do this in a year's time, it's going to be even more difficult to pick these awards out. Hopefully, we'll have the players on for that one. You never know.
Are you going to go with Wilson lifting the Champions League or Botman scoring the winner to win the Premier League next season as your favourite league? What's it going to be?
Can it not be both? Let me think. Yeah, I think just on the order of more likely, neither. No, if you had to pick one, I'd probably go with you'd have to have the Premier League. Man City has a meltdown for some reason. Let's say Pep leaves because they get sued or something, like he's promised. Arteta has another terrible season, maybe. Yeah, I'll go for that one. I wouldn't mind seeing the lift the trophy of any sign, really, any type. But I did say I'd rather Champions League than the League Cup final win. So I've got my wish. Can't complain. All right, boys. That will do it for us. See you in 12 months' time. Bye. No, see you. Hopefully you've enjoyed this show. If you've watched and listened, please, as I say, give us a like and a subscribe. And if you don't mind, put some comments in. Let us know who your picks were for these awards. I'll just remind you what they were: player of the season, moment of the season, surprise of the season, and signing of the season. Let us know in the comments, and we'll chat to you and have a bit of a discussion about it because there's a lot to pick from. All right, that will do for us. So thank you from Dimi. Thank you from Craigie. We will be back, I think, for what we're doing next week. It's a two-parter, or is it this week? Two-parter
Squad review, I think.
squad review. All right, that's going to be another cracker. I mean, geez, what do you do with it? Oh, God. Yeah, that's going to be a long, difficult conversation.
It is hard.
All right, if you would, please tune around for that one in the next few days, and we'll hopefully see you then. But for now, that will do for us. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, lads.